Hey, hey, welcome, welcome. We're here. We made it. We in it. We got it. We made it work. I believed in us the whole time. I got a League of Legends ad on my own video, so that's always fun.
That's
I love
so
that.
cool.
I have something to share with you guys before we start. You'll notice things look a little bit different in here. This is the way I was able to set it up to make it work and make it function. Hopefully it works well enough for you. Don't mind my hair. I'm a little bit frazzled today because I'm on vacation as of after this stream. So you're all a bunch of losers. Bye. I'm going to the beach. I have this tweet from Landon that I had to say because I said all the smart people I know play Dungeons and Dragons. Landon's over here telling me that, FYI, I started with photocopies of first edition before he went and got second edition because somebody made him. And then I said, well, next thing you're going to tell me is all you D&D nerds know each other because you all played together. And Landon says, I don't know Gary, meaning Gary Gygax. I only knew people who knew him, but I did play with Richard Feynman. Does that count? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Landon, please.
Well, we will. I guess we're planning on a show. I believe on dice that's being in the works.
Yes.
If they roll the dice correctly,
Yeah.
and maybe at that point I could reveal even the character he played.
I am very interested in all that because that's fantastic and amazing, and I think that'll end up being a panel. Trevor's already down, and I think Dapper's down. So if you're down, all we have to do is schedule it when I get back.
Excellent. But and Maanyaa, I hope you're doing well in Down Under.
Yes, as people can see on the screen, can they? Yeah, New Zealand exists. Okay, it exists. I'm not living on an imaginary island. Okay.
New Zealand is real. She promises.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it has to be real because Australians make fun of it on occasion.
Because Australia is real. I don't know. That implies Australia.
Yes, but we won't talk about that. Yeah, no, they there's a lot of respect for New Zealand in Australia, which is why they poke fun at that. But that's I guess that's a Aussie sign of respecting you by poking fun at you.
So is, yeah, for sure.
Yes. So I'm here. We've got the lava lamps, of course.
I got laundry behind me.
And this is some of the original stuff about Lavarand. Go look up Lavarand. You'll see about a patent and wacky patent. These are some of the things that were involved in that patent to do with cartography. And of course, I have Pele's mug. It's a nice mug from the Volcano. Actually, from Volcano House, and it actually has ash with Pele, which currently right now has a really nice beer by Pelican Brewing called Mother of All Storms. It's kind of a coffee slash I guess molasses type flavor beers, dark beers. Nice.
That's a badass name for a beer, I say.
Yes. So speaking of storms, as you know, this in terms of Pele's time of the month. We also sometimes feature a thing before we get to Pele, and what she's doing, and so there's a request to talk about volcanoes in New Zealand. In particular, there's an island that used to be called White Island that now is, I guess, and I'm not sure the full Maori pronunciation, but Wakakari.
I think Fakakari. Fakakari, because it's WH. WH is pronounced as fur. So yeah.
Wakakari. Okay. Wakakari. Not F, but a ved. Yes. Anyway, so here it is. This you see the spot here on the side. I assume you can see my cursor, hopefully. Or can we? Yes, yeah, there. Sorry. Yeah. So this is where the island is, and basically New Zealand is on part of a rift. It's the island is formed because there's a big crack in the earth where there's lots of tectonic stuff. New Zealand is full of all kinds of wiggly things. The North Island has some wonderful hot springs and some volcanoes, and in particular, the volcanoes off the coast is a tourist spot. In fact, here's a picture of the island.
Beautiful.
And it's a gorgeous island. If you visit it in a safe and sane way, and you can see down here, this is where sort of the boats come into this part of it, has this sort of harbor, and people get in and climb into the area. This is what it looks like on the landing dock there. You sort of get these zodiacs come in, and you climb on there, and you climb up into the area. There's hot springs, sulfur stuff around the area, and they take people on tours. Access to the island is restricted to geologists and people on tours, and so there's a lot of tours. There are a lot of tourists visit the spot. It's popular. It has, in on occasion, you get sort of these boiling lakes. The lake size kind of changes over seasons and how steamy things are and so forth. But it has fumaroles and springs there. People who go, certainly gives you a classic set of sulfur deposits, because it's sort of andesitic. You get a little bit of that sulfury smell in it, which you don't get that very much in Kilauea.
Do you mind if we zoom that picture in a little bit?
Okay, let's zoom that in.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I guess it's a boiling bits. Anyway, so this is being heated by the rock, the water going down to the magma, heating coming up, fumaroles, and like I said, it's this other one here. You can see as well, lots in this area, lots of false sulfur deposits, lots of things. So in fact, the tourists come in and see various sites here within the caldera.
Nobody saw that.
And it does have, it actually has active fumarole. Let's see how this plays. Hello?
Hi.
Let's see. Come on. There we go.
Oh, wow.
So typical, fumaroles there. Now, these fumaroles, because again, it's sort of warmed over rock, get that really bad sort of sulfur smell in there. But it's
that rotten egg smell. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. And
can't hear him.
Oh, we lost Landon audio.
It keeps
there he is.
It keeps wanting to switch back. I'm not quite sure why. And occasionally that lake has a keep trying to stay. This
Landon, going in and out. Can't hear you. Landon.
Yes, I see.
I don't think being louder is gonna help.
So it was trying to switch audio.
Oh, your computer is doing something in the background.
Yeah.
I think your audio settings are trying to do something in the background. We can see your desktop, like your thing, by the way, if you care.
Your Discord, your whole Discord.
And so now we're okay?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good now. Yep.
Yay, okay. All right. Like I said, we're professionals here.
So okay, I've got
so,
poor stream health right now, so it's just gonna be one of those days.
So occasionally the lake boil, have steam events there, and so this is what it looks like, one of the steam events early on. But what happened to it is they had what's called a phreatic eruption, and what this is, if we sort of zoom in on this thing, let me zoom a little bit more in. What happens is that this is not a magma eruption. This is not a magma coming up and making lava. This is water coming down flash boiling. And it can happen another reason. You could get an earthquake where magma shifts and water comes out in contact with it, and you get basically a steam explosion. So these type of eruptions rarely have lava associated with it. They're really big, giant steam explosions. And steam is extraordinarily powerful force. You know, the water, like you say, with this down deep, comes in contact with the hot rocks, flashes of steam, and particularly if it's associated with an earthquake, you can get sort of the water sealed off. It boils, builds up pressure, and goes bang. Right. So think of it like a pressure cooker pot exploding. If you've ever done any canning,
don't
that's bad.
Avoid that if you can.
Yeah. So this is an eruption, and rarely do these kind of eruptions, dramatic eruptions, have lava coming out, but they're still quite deadly. And so this was there's a webcam in the crater rim, and this was the moment. We're about 15 seconds away from the eruption. This being a family-friendly thing, I won't show you the thing afterwards, but you can see here lots of people, tourists, crawling around in this area from a tour area. There, people on there, when this area is going to have a steam explosion.
Oh wow!
And this is from the mainland of that steam explosion. Again, you can see we're talking about that area where the central core is. And again, this is you see the white clouds basically of flashing of steam. There is, I guess, the best way of saying it is there is a report that was done by the Guardian on there that I can play. It's about it's about 2 minutes, and I can give you a little bit of a deal to what's happening. So let's see what this. Let's look at this report.
Do you have audio turned on?
Oh yeah, seen this video. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Holy shit, the whole island just got engulfed like in seconds, eh?
Yes.
Completely
the steam explosion. Steam explosion is there. What I don't know if I could try. We're having really audio things. What you basically were hearing were people on the ship.
I got the audio fixed now. That should be good.
Do you want me to try it again?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Do you hear?
No.
No.
I've got stream volume on.
This.
All right, try one more time now. I made it.
Landon, right-click on your share stream, that window, and see if you have muted it or what.
Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to do this here for see the do. Let's see. Are we in a better position right now?
Yeah, we should be fine.
Okay. Partly for the echo, but let's go in and there's a thing, and we'll set it back to the previous thing. So here we go.
Jesus.
That was 5 seconds. And that's a picture time lapse. Holy guacamole. Oh.
That's insane.
I know there will be a huge amount of concern and anxiety for those who have loved ones on or around the island at the time. And I can assure them police are doing everything they can.
Wow.
Yeah. People have had long-term burns and injuries from this event.
Yes.
And they're still trying to recover. So that's why I was interested in it in sort of like from risk management perspective. Like,
yeah. And well, you saw that boat was, they were ferrying people to the docks from the ship. And so these are the people that were going to go and join the other folks there. The folks that were down on the dock were people, because what they were doing, basically say, go there for a while, come back. And so they were basically doing a trade of the people that were on the dock. They had just dropped off a group. The group had gone into the crater, and the previous group had left or on the dock. And so it was again, a pretty horrific situation. One of the things is that this Valkyrie is a again, the pronunciation, Maanyaa, is Valkyrie. Are you here?
Fakari. It would be Fakari, White Island, yeah.
Oh, Fakari. Okay.
Yeah.
Fakari. This is known as a fairly cranky volcano. It actually has erupted a number of times. They in the early 1900s they were trying to mine sulfur, and there was a pretty bad eruption there where avalanche cave in in 1914. Where a number of people, died in that sort of mining explosion. It certainly was first viewed by Captain Cook. That Captain Cook first viewed it in October 1st, 1769, and it was particularly they noticed they called it White Island because it had lots of guano deposits. That's a fancy term for bird poop.
Yes.
And such, but there was a halt to the mining in 1914 when an eruption occurred. The crater rim collapsed, and you had a lahar, which was essentially was a sort of an outflow from the driven by water that killed about 10 workers there, and they tried to do it in 1923 again, but they had another sort of injuries, and so they sort of stopped trying to do things. One of the things about the 1918 eruption that we know is that there was certainly a number of earthquakes prior to that. We knew that it was fairly it was in a fairly elevated state at the time, and there had been a number of earthquakes. Again, just 2 weeks prior to the eruption, they had a magnitude 5.9 quake lasting about a minute. And there were a series of stuff. They elevated the volcanic status alert level up because of those because it had lots of smaller quakes on it. And then when the actual eruption occurred, you had a plume that rose about almost 4 kilometers, about 12,000 feet in the air, again from ash. This was not lava blowing out. This was water superheated that had been under pressure that basically popped.
And then
go ahead.
I think so. So ash, I think so. Water and steam, like very hot steam, like I think so.
Yeah.
And boiling. So my thing was like, I think so. I get it, like that the waters around that island can be choppy, so you can't have too many boats, or you say like other boats, like speed boats or something like that there. But from like risk management point of view, could we have done something so that the evacuation could have been sooner, or could we have had a boat on standby that could have like gotten the people off the island if something happened? Or could we have seen this coming? Could we have seen this coming? That's the question.
To answer, more first is that the risk status should have been elevated, particularly when you saw the earthquake swarms. Again, earthquake swarm does not mean it's going to erupt, and about 90% of the time when you have an earthquake swarm, the volcano doesn't erupt. Because what's happening is magma is basically changing pressure against rock, and rock is cracking, and that creates earthquakes. The thing that is probably the thing that would have been helpful to people is to say, we just had a single earthquake, and even though true, the earthquake was about 10 kilometers northwest. When you remember, we've seen earthquake maps of Kilauea. The earthquakes associated with a volcano can be quite far, right? Because the mountain is not just a tiny peak on the top; it's the thing going down into the water and its basin and feeding from much farther under. So the fact that it was 10 kilometers away should not have been from the island. Should not have been it's just an earthquake, right? But these seismic activities can be really a good contributing factor to these hydrothermic eruptions, and that's what we had. You essentially had a case where the earthquake shifted, trapped water. The water was able to flash boil and then break through the rock, and which we know is a weak spot in the volcanic vent. So I think one of the things is that they should have raised the alert level and stopped the part of the problem I see with this island is there is a tourism industry that is highly dependent upon it, right? It's a tourist attraction. And what you saw that little boat that they were taking film of. That again was a sort of zodiac ferry between a cruise liner and the shore. And they were having people go back and forth, and so now once an event like this occurs, once this eruption occurs, right, and people that were on the island were basically suffered the fate they suffered. I think that the next thing is having emergency services come in, and the most of the emergency services were done by helicopters. There were 3 commercial helicopter pilots that were flying back and forth, bringing back survivors for there. They and I think they did the right thing, and they concentrated on survivors, not on dead people. I know that certain cultures that's considered important, but New Zealand has actually had some. This is not the first time they had a volcanic disaster. There was a Air New Zealand flight that managed to crash into one of the few open lava pits in Antarctica.
Oh wow!
And
Whoops!
and that can be done for another for another time. Political controversy around this stuff, where the pilot is concentrated on living people, and then there was this push to say, well, go back and get the dead people, and the police stopped them, and for a good reason, right?
Yeah.
That they're dead, and that the volcano is in a dangerous state. We know it's had explosion now. Chance of it doing the same thing twice, it might after. There's some chance that there were other steam pockets that hadn't yet blown out. So you might have had deeper water trapped that the first steam explosion creates a hole that the second thing can come up in. So it is possible you could have repeat events. And so I think that the police call, now that they've got the living people off the island, with 2 people unaccounted for, it's time to stop and wait until it settles down. And so I think that was a right call, even though it concerned people. Similarly to, I'll tell you later what happened to the Air New Zealand flight flying into the lava lake.
I can only imagine what could have possibly happened flying into a lava lake.
I don't want to be unsympathetic to the families, but the first focus was on retrieving 23 people to the mainland, and they're both offshore that got people on the edge, like you saw that jetty there, and then commercial helicopters came in to the area to try to find other people that were still alive, and bring them back safely. So I think that once an event like this happens, you want to have Coast Guard and helicopter rescue trying to find people. But that is, well, as I say, the horse is bolted out of the barn door. The question is, should you put a better barn door on your barn? And that, I think, is a thing that they should be more carefully monitoring the state of this volcano. Yeah. And that the authorities, not the tour operators, should call the shots saying, I'm sorry you booked a tour, but you can't go today. Because
it should be part of their insurance, basically. Like, if you book a thing and can't go because volcanoes are happening, then right, and same with the company, right? This is the whole, maybe you should have saved money for a rainy day. It's like, well, maybe.
Well, guess what? If you're looking at volcanoes, there's other volcanoes in New Zealand that are dormant but have nice hot springs and so forth. You can go there and experience things. This particular volcano, Vakuri on White Island, is.
I was looking at the personal protective equipment that they provided the tourists. Orange hard hats and nothing else. I think so. There was one shot where the tourists were coming, so just hard hats, and they're just wearing whatever gear they want to wear, right? So I'm like, there's nothing protecting them from that boiling steam. Hey, Shesh is back. Boiling steam and water and the ash that's coming out. I don't know if they had respirators on. I don't see any respirators on them to filter through, so they can act. So it's like, if you're going to put people in a zone that is full of risks, you should have appropriate equipment for it, right? When you're flying, you have appropriate equipment, right? You have a parachute, you have a life vest and all that shit. So why not when you're going near a volcano? So that really miffs me. I don't know. Maybe we can have a look at the tours that they organize and see what PPE they offer. But for me, it's like.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is they need to increase the monitoring of the volcano. Yes. And they need, and the emergency authorities need to have the authority to say to tour operators, you can't come, right? You've got to stay away. That is going to be a problem for some people. I'm sorry for the mower that's outside mowing. That's always a problem because the way it is right now, people just sail up to the thing and walk around. Anyone can, any tour operator, registered tour operator can go there. So the government, and this may have already happened, but the government needs to sort of say, access to here is based upon volcanic activity. That doesn't guarantee that it's going to fix things. The other thing they need to be able to do is if they see conditions changing, then they just get a signal saying evacuate and get people out. So
I mean, we do that up. We do that here for like camping, like cottage country, because I'm going on vacation, and in cottage country, there's like on the highway there are dials, and the dials will be set to whether or not like how risky it is to have a fire. If you're allowed to have campfires up north, and some years you're not allowed because there wasn't enough precipitation. Everything's too dry. And there's like medium risk, and anything yellow and above, unless you're in a specific area that tells you you don't get to. Otherwise, it's got to be green. I feel like the same thing ought to apply.
Yeah.
And it's a case where this is not a case of people can't go. I think people should go. You just need to understand the risks, and the risks need to be mitigated. So the tour groups need to get permission from volcanic monitoring people to go, and then they need to be able to get people out. Now, the problem with the thing is that the people who are already on the island were effectively dead, right? They were when the people that were in that spot, when you saw these these people there, right? These people here are dead.
Where are they gonna go?
But you're on an airplane and the airplane is going to crash, right? The people inside are kind of toast. So you don't say don't fly.
Yeah.
You need to be more cognizant of it. So I think that the mistakes were that a couple weeks prior, it was showing signs of unrest, and that the tour operators needed to be told no. Now, the problem is, again, about 90% of the time when you have earthquakes associated with magma, nothing happens. So the other thing you have to have the will to do is to say, I know the last 9 times we said stay away and nothing happened.
Yeah.
You still need to stay away. That's another thing that's important. People have to, should not have the right to go there and anytime they want. Some of the thing when we approach a volcano, even in Hawaii, which are relatively gentle, you don't. You always have escape plan. You have emergency equipment. You have respirators, that sort of thing. For the worry I would have in this caldera is getting gases filling the area, right? And so having a gas mask. Right. But then the people need to be trained on how to use them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like we found a way to mitigate risks while we are flying and all that stuff. And I guess the risks are different when you're flying and when you're on an island with an active volcano, which can have a phreatic eruption.
Yes.
So the risks are very different. So how far can you manage that risk by using just PPE, like gas masks, right? So or
just hard hats.
Well, for that kind of eruption, that's not a problem. The thing that they're having a hard hat so forth is that there are occasionally, because the sides are unstable, you can get rocks coming down.
Yeah.
In the area, and that can cause a significant problem.
Inkboy sent us a super chat for 5 that I just want to get to. He sent it earlier, but I was busy trying to fight with YouTube. And he sent me what to open first: Sherwood non-alcoholic cider, strawberry and cream taste, or Volfus Engelman a mojito. I'm just sending some money to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll use it on my vacation to buy myself some ice cream.
Yes.
Ice cream.
But mojitos are nice too.
Yeah, mojitos are like if you want like tart, but if you want sweet, go for the strawberry.
Yes.
Nice.
So let's make this big for everybody to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I made it big enough. I made it big on my end, so you're good to go.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
There'll be other things there. So this thing was just to note that and so we're going to talk about what's happening with Kilauea in the last month. Kilauea is still erupting. Madam Pele is still dancing.
Nice.
The crater floor has risen 133 meters.
Oh,
That's 437 feet above when it started on September 20th. Remember, the current eruption started on September 29th, 2021. And it's put out about almost 100 million cubic meters, or about 26 billion gallons of lava since that time.
my goodness.
Sulfur levels have remained elevated. The expected today was around 1,700 tons of sulfur dioxide put out. I've seen numbers around 4,000. I've seen as low as 1,000. So it kind of varies. But still, the sulfur dioxide, remember, coming out is part of the outgassing of the magma near the surface, and it gives you sort of the vigor of the eruption. In deformation territories, there's tilt meters. We see here this thing is over a 1 day. We see a classic inflation deflation cycle happening. And in fact, if you look in the past week, this curve is sort of rises rapidly, plateaus, and then inverts and goes down. Right. Remember, again, when it's in deflation, what's happening is that the top of the magma is sort of outgassed, and it's kind of old, stale. It kind of sinks, and all of a sudden the magma chamber turns over, and it rushes up again. So you get this deflation followed by an inflation. So these DI cycles, as you can see,
if you look at the top two, you can see that the top one, that's a week, is half of is the second half, last 2 bars or so of the second one.
But this sort of downslope, and all of a sudden it inverts and goes up and peaks, is very classic stuff. These wiggles here were an earthquake. There was an earthquake, some earthquakes on the and we'll talk about that next, and sort of what happens. But when shockwaves come through, either nearby earthquakes or big earthquakes somewhere in the world, and kind of shockwaves kind of move through the stuff, it kind of shakes up. It's like having some fizzy water, and kind of shake it up, and it goes a little bit more effusive.
That did not just happen with my beer a little bit ago. I don't know what you're having. I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody saw that. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
But for this month here for Pele, if you look at this graph here, we can see we've had multiple DI cycles that are getting more regular at this time. And how fast it goes through a DI cycle gives you an idea about how much energy is coming in the magmatic system. Lots of energy. It comes up the top, boils. You get it stales. The magma chamber turns over, and the new thing happens. So the speed at which it goes DIs give you a notion of how much energy is coming in. Remember, the previous month there were only a couple of these DI events. Now we're getting a little bit more regular. So it seems like Madam Pele is getting more active in the DI event. The fact that we've got still sulfur dioxide coming out in 1,000, 2,000 tons a day, and we're having DI events, says that this eruption is still quite ongoing.
And there are currently people living on the island throughout this eruption, correct?
Oh yes. I mean, there's lots of Hawaiians on there. People, they don't. This
has not stopped tourism. It hasn't stopped anything currently going on.
No.
It's not that kind of eruption.
We have in fact, a very gentle thing we'll see down there. But one thing you could look at, the other thing is in GPS, looking at the distance across the caldera, and back this little peak here is when the eruption started back in late September 29th, where the eruption started, and basically the peak sort of sagged in, right? It was elevated pressure, and it went down in, right? And we can see since that time it's rebuilt the pressure, rebuilt the distance, where it's almost back to its original peak again. Now,
Vulnerable is asking if I can ask Landon if White Island is part of the same rift zone of Ruepu, or formed by a subduction zone.
Yes, it's the same. It's part of the same rift.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes. Unless Maanyaa wants to correct me on that.
Maanyaa, tell me how wrong I am.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
I'm very Americanized.
Yeah.
It's fine. You're
Canadian ice.
Oh no. I
So-
did my
so
best.
If you look at this thing and you say, well, gee, when it reached this peak of stretch stuff, then it had an eruption and went down. It's back up again. What does that mean? Well, it can go much higher than that. If we look at this was the past year. If we look at the past 5 years, this little blip here was the current eruption phase. There was a previous eruption here, and this was the big end of the 35-half-year eruption. So what you can't say, oh, start or stop of an eruption. What you can say is when you see a big shift, that's associated with magma moving, which causes the ground to burble and move forward. So whether or not the volcano can continue to stretch without limits is remain to be seen.
Right.
When you look at the map here, we see again that the lake is now getting a little bit higher. There's these little spots here where the lake is now moving into some of what we call overflows, right? This used to be more rounded, right? And as you can see, the drop down block, as the lake gets higher, this stuff is going to start sloshing into this area and expanding in its surface area. The red, of course, is where there's active stuff, but this was back on July 12th. Madam Pele has been up to even more good stuff. I will say that if you go to the Volcano National Park, right, here's a big island here. You can fly into Hilo. It's a 40-minute drive up to the national park. You pay a small entrance fee, and you can come in on the road here. And there's really this nice overlooks here and here. Particularly, you can see down into the lava pit where everything's sloshing around. Again, Pele is very gentle as opposed to cranky, and you can see the lava stuff, especially at night. It's the glow is quite good. Thermal wise, that's what it looks like. And this is a more recent thermal thing. And we're beginning to see little things on the side. We've had that thing, that little bit in the middle that you've seen pictures of. Because if you look at here in more detail, you can see that there's now some vents happening here, and here. Again, it's coming under this thing looks like a rising bread dough thing as more material comes in. But there are these breakout spots here now that have been added to the thing, not just the thing in the middle. And of course, this is Gilligan's Island here. This island in the middle sort of still sits there, swinging around. A rock island in the middle of lava, go figure. But Pele likes to amuse. Here's a picture of that crack and that flow. The one will sit there from the area, and if we look down, there's all kinds of fumaroles that have bits of lava coming out, sort of build these sort of cones called hornitos, HORNITOS.
Okay.
So these are very, very fragile. They're sort of rock splatter stuff that the wind or an earthquake causes them to collapse, or they collapse on their own accord. But while they're there, they're nice, pretty colors and strange shapes. Looking down into that particular spillway, you can see that the notion of the lava lake with these active cells and things break open, bubbles come up, causing sort of splashes to occur.
Inkboy is asking,
Go ahead.
when a volcano stretches, does it get stretch marks, as in like ravines and crevices and anything like that?
Yes. Depending on how bad it stretches, you can get cracks. And stretching can cause.
Also, I'm sorry, Venerable, I pronounced your name wrong. I apologize. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Venerable. So stretching can cause basically can be this notion that the top's going to be weaker and sun's going to blow out. The other thing that happens with stretching is it can fall in, right? That the stretching can be because there's not enough pressure. It's pushing to the side, and so the top kind of collapses in. The magma's coming up, and as it lowers pressure, it kind of fans out, pushing to the side, and the top kind of can fall in or stretch out depending on stuff. So stretching can be it's going to go up more. It can be a matter of it's reaching a breaking point and something's going to shift. And we saw, as we saw with the, if we go back to deformation, when you have these drops, these kind of drops are associated with the beginning of an eruption. So it kind of runs up to the point where it reaches a stretch point, something breaks, the magma turns into lava, comes up on top, erupts, and all that pressure kind of cools down. But it's been continually erupting since then, and the pressure rebuilds. So whatever was there that broke, it's now still forcing its way in. And we say, what is that? Well, it's all that big, it's all that lava lake stuff. This thing is part of the stretching process.
It's starting to look more like a cat. It's got ears now.
Cat ears.
Yes, very much so. I like that.
It's on brand with the new PlayStation 5 Stray cat game.
So in the eruption, a lot of equipment that gets set up to monitor the major gases, major downground formation, water temperatures, that sort of thing.
They're not even wearing hard hats in that entirely flat area. What the hell?
Yeah, and they're fairly far away. This is not near the summit, so they're not in danger of gases. Yeah. They do have, on the other hand, have gas masks on hand.
That's good.
And they also have radio signals and people monitoring to say, something's happening. Get out of there.
I mean, I guess like gas can kind of surprise you about where it just decides it's gonna find its way through.
Yeah,
and the wind direction and stuff can be surprising to something.
Yeah, but people monitor the harmonics. I mean, Kilauea is a very well-monitored volcano. They monitor the harmonic quakes. They monitor other things. When they see a change in phase, when you see that the volcano is no longer breaking its rhythm, that's when you pull people back. And that's probably what should have happened, and on the areas of the tourism, New Zealand. When they saw a change of behavior, they should have said, let's step back and see what happens, see if it settles down or it goes boom, right?
Right.
That's kind of responsible stuff. So these people, by the way, are about, I think it's about, this area is about 8 kilometers away from the volcano event. So there, but again, lots of pictures showing of the flow. Here's a case where you notice that this particular spot, the lava was up higher than down here where it was sort of lower, right? Those are the lava level here versus the lava level here.
Now, are these flowing? Like, do these rocks like move around and shift and go back underneath the crust there?
Sort of oozing over here, and this is what the lake looks like when you're at the bottom of deflation, where the thing is they think of it as draining down into the magma chamber, and this is what it looks like when it's inflated. Right. So here, and you can see here's bits of lava being pushed out. It just sort of creates these hornitos with these little sort of blips of stuff that bottom on the side and build up some.
Yeah, is that something falling, or is that something that you can just see through the gas or the fog?
This is something that's been injected. There's probably a crack here, and there's some gas that basically took a bit of lava and went poof, right? This is a bubble popping, right? And so these spots here are being ejected upwards, and they'll fall down and onto the side.
Very cool.
So gas is coming up here, and little bits are falling.
I don't mean to interrupt just because I'm not in my own space. Please continue. I'll just be right back. Don't stop on my behalf.
So this other thing, you're looking at the edge here, down the drop down block. We were talking about the fact that when it gets up higher, it's going to be able to start flowing into this section. So now, unlike last month, now it's getting a bit higher. So the question is, will it continue to rise? Will there be more and more? Most of the change of the lava lake level is from inside. The magma is pushing up inside the dough and it's kind of expanding and erupting. So it occasionally breaks out on the top, and we see those nice, pretty red stuff. But much of the expansion is kind of inside, and so we can see from last month to this month, it's getting near the top of this spot where it'll start. And when it gets here, it'll start going in this area. Again, little breakout spot. This is a spot here that kind of opened up where gas forces the lava up top and splatters and builds a nice little hornito. Again, this is all very fresh lava. You can see little bits of in here, but this is what lava in the daytime looks like. All this little pillowy stuff you can see oozing around here. This is called pohoi lava. This little hornito here. So again, when people say, "Where's the lava?" Well, this is all lava. This is all sort of pasty, crusty stuff. Here's one of the islands that is still floating around. This is a rock island in the middle of this lava, just bobbing around.
Like a cork.
This is not Gilligan's Island. That's another one, but
like a cork in a glass of water.
Yes.
Just like bobbing around.
Very, 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 very good point. You can see here on the edge that there's a lot of gases escaped out of the edge of the lava lake, and the edge is getting up higher onto the segment. One of the views from one of the crater rims of the old set showing down to the crater floor here is for itself. But again, let's look at stuff. The ongoing summit. Sometimes when you come to the volcano, you have lots of gases, right? These are a lot of steam and stuff coming out. So depending on where the wind is, the people on this side can get good views and these people don't. My suggestion is you just go there and you take your time and let the wind shift and see stuff. So sometimes you get a lot of this is called VOG, volcanic. Basically, it's volcanic smog area, but it doesn't have that stinky sulfur smell. Now they're down in here, they're gases you don't want to breathe, but out here you're fine. And you can see the person does have respirator on just because the wind shifts.
That's an N95 mask.
And underneath there is another set. But N95 masks are good for, because what you want to not get is the volcanic dust.
Yeah.
And N95 masks are
just
really good.
Just with the pictures that come along with this and how much information, I'm surprised that like volcano watching and monitoring isn't like more popular.
It is actually quite popular. So here's the case where the wind shifted, right? And they took a picture.
Yeah.
And you see the wind shift here. And again, you can see now this is this center section. The lava there is the center section. But there's a couple of hornitos. There's a new spot here, a new hot spot over here. So there's more spots coming forward from the spot that you can continue. You can see a little bit of the old road. This line here is a little bit of the old road that used to be that got deleted. But it's now there's so much stuff going on it that road is going to be kind of gone completely in a little bit. There was a nice overflight. So this is a helicopter picture showing Mauna Loa. So that's the big mama. This is the top. When you go there and say, where is this world's largest, volcano, active volcano? Well, and you see this bump on the ridge. The problem is you see this little bump and you say, well, it's just a little mountain. No, that's a giant mountain. And you have got very, very clear view.
So
and you're way back.
So many people take I think humans in general have a bit of a problem with relative size.
Yes.
So when you get to really, really big numbers, once you get to a certain number, people just can no longer, unless they've studied it and taken time to do so, they can't really conceptualize that large of a number. Which is you get people people who are billionaires and they have hundreds of billions of dollars and people are like, whatever, because they can't conceptualize that amount of money and what it means. So you get the size of the Earth and they can't conceptualize how big the planet actually is. That's how you get flat Earth. Basically, I'm saying that's how you get flat earthers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you talk about objects being away from Earth at light years, not just few light years, but then you start talking about hundreds of light years and millions of light years, and then you can't just conceptualize because that's what you're measuring, how far the light can go and what time the light will take to travel that distance. So after a while, I think some people just cannot reference. And coming to this screenshot, I'll just finish with that. This has been taken from a helicopter. This is a helicopter shot. So if it's looking small, if it's looking like a bump from a helicopter shot, just think about if you're on the ground, what it will look like. So yeah, so that maybe that might give you some perspective.
And we're used to the nice peaky mountains of the South Island of New Zealand. Wonderful place to go, lots of peaky stuff. That's what we think of as mountains, right? But when you look at just this picture alone, so the top of this mountain is at 4169 meters. That's 16,000. That's 13,000, 13,700 feet high, right?
That's insane.
And it's not peaky. See how gentle the slope is.
Yeah.
It's very fluid lava that just sort of pours out there. The distance from edge to edge on this particular image is 100 kilometers.
Oh, God.
So you're seeing 100 kilometers wide of the top of Mauna Loa.
I lived my entire life on a sharper angle than that.
Yes, and the volume, Mauna Loa's volume is 75,000 cubic kilometers. That's 18,000 cubic miles of volume of this mountain.
Oh shit!
But it has such a and most of the Big Island is the Mauna Kea is kind of the other side, but most of the Big Island is these two volcanoes, where Kilauea is kind of a side bump on the thing. But Kilauea she'll eventually get to the point where she'll be the Mauna Loa of the island. And the little brother on the side, we'll talk about in just a moment. Okay, so I just want to give you, the scale of this volcano, and why it's one of the decade volcanoes that are there. It's last erupted in 1984, and I'm waiting for it to erupt again because
2024. Look out for it.
When Mauna Loa flows, and you can see some of the stuff here, like the spine. You can see some of this dark spot. These were some earlier eruptions that had lava that flew down into the area. When it sends off lava, it makes Kilauea look pretty tame in comparison to the volume, right?
Yeah.
The volume of stuff that comes out.
We've got questions in the chat real quick from Red Eye.
Yeah. Sure.
Your favorite. Red Eye asked, how far until I get my wish and see it flow over the drop down, meaning Pele, and are the locals okay with my claim on Gilligan's Island, which I think if we were looking at it, Gilligan's Island is almost gone.
Well, it's kind of in here. It's Gilligan's Island is this spot here from the thermal vent, right? You can see it from the thermal vent.
There it is. Okay.
This is Gilligan's Island, here. And we can see from this particular image, where was it? Here, we can see that it's getting no, it's not here. It was it here? No, I think it was this spot. We can see that it's getting pretty close to the edge, right? From the set. I forget where that image. Yeah, so we can see now it's getting close. I mean, we had the lake started rising much more rapidly this month than last month, and part of that comes from the fact that we have these deflation inflation events, right? The more of these wigglies you see, the more energetic it is, the more active the eruption is, right. And that corresponds with the bread dough of the sort of semi-squishy lava lake expanding.
And Brian is asking, but how much is that in American? Because they measure things in school buses or apples or deer, anything except an actual measurement system.
Yeah.
How many washing machines? God damn it!
Stadiums.
Stadiums.
Football
stadiums. So I think part of the answer to Retta's question for the thing is that when I thought last month that this little bit of overspill, let's go back to the map, right? This overflow. I thought last month it would take about 3 months to get this overflow, and it happened in 1 month. So it expanded a bit from here. So if it continues at a certain rate, we might see the next month with this getting more of a cat ear, right? The cat ear is going to get more developed here and more developed here.
Smitty asked, how many wine caves is that?
The wine.
I cannot today. Having a time.
Yeah, the current, if you talk 25 billion gallons, that's roughly 100 billion quarts. So if you talk about 100 billion quarts of soda pop,
instead of at least 3 megapints.
I should have seen
Probably.
that joke coming.
You should have seen that joke coming. The fact that you
Yeah.
didn't is actually surprising.
I don't know.
Well, go ahead.
No, go on.
Okay. And one of the things as well is that if you think about, well, one of the mistakes is to say, well, we had a lot of vigor this month. Is it going to continue, right?
Right.
Well, if it continues along, we'll see this lobe start to be developed here, and we'll see this lobe kind of getting up, this cat ear coming up here as well, right? I guess this would be the whiskers. We'll get more whiskers here and more developed cat ear here. However, it's known that people who make prediction of what Pele is doing, she tends to go and do something else. She dances her own jig, and so to say, oh, it's obviously going to be next month's going to be blah blah blah. We could have a drain event, and the whole thing just goes down in, right. The eruption ends and the thing collapses in again. The other possibility is that if you see these cracks going along this way, right? See this crater and these cracks. Well, this is part of this spine again.
The part that looks like a penis?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how, look at it. It's got balls, poorly defined balls, and it's got like a little bit that comes out and then it edges and it's got like, and then it like flows outwards.
So
I will find an excuse to make a dick joke every single stream that we do this.
And that's well played. So shield volcanoes have spine, and Kilo is one of them that has this little. This is where the spine begins to go through down this way, and what happens is that remember when the previous 35.5-year eruption ended, the magma moved down the spine and came out this at the edge of the volcano over here, of the island over here, and poured out. Right, that was so there are well crafted cracks and plumes. If this lava can get up high enough, it'll start putting pressure and might begin to move down the road. We'll see down this thing, or it could be this way, right? This is the other direction. This spine going down here is coming out this direction. These cracks going this way. So these are this is the top of the two things. So one possibility when you say, well, is it going to continue to go forward? Will you get cat whiskers and a better ear here? Is that it could open up one of the tubes and drain in, right?
Right.
We might see earthquakes kind of occur as the magma moves along the line. We also might see the mountain deflate, right? So the question is this leading up to a deflation thing where it breaks open one of the tubes and drains? If it does, we'll see a drop occurring. So don't assume that Pele is going to follow along your plan. But again, the answer to Doray's question is if it continues doing the work that it did last month, next month we might see the ears more developed and a little bit of whiskers. So back to here with the overflight. So Mauna Loa, I just want to point it out because again, some people say, well, where is the volcano? It's like, well, you're standing on it. Here is the picture of the former visitor center and the overlook.
That seems really close. Yeah, that seems really close.
These buildings are going to be destroyed because there's kind of cracks and earthquakes that kind of messed up the building. But the visitor spot here is quite so. This is the end of the road because the road kind of got deleted on this part of the crater and drive.
Got deleted, got yeeted, you know.
Deleted, right? It's sort of, but you can drive up here because the visitor center is over on this side over here, and you could drive around, come up to the spot, and go to the thing that's nice benches and so forth. little turret displays, and you can look down into the spot. There's another viewing angle area over here as well. That's quite good.
Make sure
again,
you go when it's safe to do so. If people tell you it's not safe, don't go.
Yeah.
So we look at if you look at the
Volcano doesn't care about the money you spent on the trip.
So here you can see how this intrusion is getting up here. And it's got to work its way before it gets in this direction, but it has a possibility to go in this direction as well. But again, as this thing gets higher and higher, it might put pressure on the vents going that direction or the vents going that direction.
This is a good picture, though. Can we see Gilligan's Island here?
Yeah, right there.
That middle.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure if it was that one or if it was to the left.
There's that little those rim we saw of the lava flowing on that little spot here, and got a new spot here. See a little bit of red, and a new spot over here, right? For stuff. Let's see a little bit better when I show you the thermal images. So it's going there. Here's a little outbreak, and again, they tell the difference between sort of old crusty lava and fresh lava here, with a little bit of red bits going in on his ears. Another spot showing how it's
So
yes?
you said that this month Pele has filled up the volcano by 100 meters. Is that what you said? It went quite rapidly up.
No, I was saying that it's risen 133 meters since the beginning of the eruption in 2022.
Since the eruption, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, back to here. All right, we'll get to this.
Nice.
We'll get to this part. So this is spot here. We can see nice hornitos going forward. Little bits of things. Again, if you bring in binoculars, it's really good to show. When you come into the spot, this is the area of Volcano House. So you get lodging here, and you go along the road. You can see some of the view centers here. There's also nice walkways along the way where you can see, sulfur displays, so forth. Stay on the walkway. Don't go off.
Yeah.
Don't
be a little child.
Don't touch the guardrail. Please keep your arms and legs in the ride at all times.
Yes. This is it. You do not want to ride the handsome on this thing. So, so here is a picture I took last night of what the camera.
Ooh.
Oh, well, so I mentioned go there at night because the glows are quite extraordinary. You can see and you'll watch these cracks move, right? These are sort of roiling, boiling thing on top of a cauldron, and these represent the cracks in between little boiling cells, and that's that little spillway here for stuff. This is a couple minutes later, so you can see how it changes.
It's a frog. It's a frog with pointy teeth opening its mouth.
Yes, it is. You're right. There's the eyes. There's the teeth.
It's got little cheekies. It's got or its ears at the far side there.
Yes.
He's got a bubble above his head.
Yep.
Rodent from the live chat is saying, "I want lava lake paddle boats."
I'm my god.
So, and again, next time we talk, we'll talk a little about swimming in lava.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
If we were to implement blimps, would they be able to fly over or not? Over a volcano? Yes,
they would. One of the problems that you have to face is sometimes you get gases coming up of the volcano that are acidic. And so if you need things like fans or rotors, being in the middle of gas, acidic gas is a bad thing. So, so you got to be careful about that. But in the wind vents.
Sure, but that's it's not going to drop. It's not going to lose altitude.
No. When I've been involved, in helicopters doing overflights, we also have gas masks just in case the wind shifts and we're sucking up something from Pele. But
I wonder if that would be something that they should sell. Hey, fly over the volcano on a blimp.
Here's the same picture in visible light, and you can see. Do you see the one of the things as well? You can see these little spots,
little pockets, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is a camera that's tuned for daytime. This is not a nighttime camera. Now, this is a nighttime camera here, but this is a daytime camera. And if you saw this with your own eyes, you would see a lot more of the subtle stuff. You're only seeing the very brightest spots here. That's why, again, I encourage you to go there and see it directly. Here's another spot of that area.
59 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that talking about like the average, like the temperature in the local area, or?
I believe this is a camera showing you the temperatures. I'm not sure why it's in Fahrenheit.
Is it? Somebody's an asshole. But is it?
I set it to Celsius and someone changed it to Fahrenheit. I'm just playing.
This is one guy. But is it showing the temperature where the camera is, or is it trying to
here's
read
a live
the temperature?
picture. Yeah, showing where the camera is.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
here's a live picture. It was back. So you can see now the lake is pretty high. And flowing through here. So that's a live photo there. Let's look at the daytime picture here and see what happens.
Ooh.
A little smoggy here, but you can see this is going pretty well. The edge is going pretty well here.
Landon's gonna write a strongly worded letter to the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory and tell them to just let their cameras back to Celsius.
I said it was Celsius. Someone changed it.
Yes. I think so. Landon doesn't need to do that. I think so he can just change it back if he wants to. Or maybe he might need to
from where he is, or are we gonna send Maanyaa on a trek?
Yeah. So you can see a couple of the little vents here in the spot. Again, this shows you the old road there, but from a visitor viewpoint, you can at night you can see a lot more of the cracks here. There's little things are active that become nice glowy spots when the thing is running. One last thing here, I guess we could look at this sort of shows some of the edge of some of that of the flow.
Chad is voting for a paid vacation for Maanyaa in December, so she can go with Landon to the at Christmas time to the volcano.
And tell those people of like, don't put in Fahrenheit.
We can write like a sign.
No, I'm going to write in the feedback book that they have, the visitors book. It's like, why is that Fahrenheit?
So last bit there and safe. Get your questions ready because we're trying to talk to you about Pele's younger brother here. So the youngest volcano on the island chain is not Kilauea. Volcano chain has multiple sets here. And by the way, this is courtesy of Big Island Volcanoes, and you'll see the link on there for. I would recommend subscribing to this person. But the Big Island has multiple volcanoes. Mauna Kea, where the observatories are, is dormant. Hualalai, Maunaloa, and Kilauea are active, erupting. 1801, 1984, and ongoing. But there's another one here, and this is at the end of the chain. Remember we talked about this chain of volcanoes that ends in Hawaii down here. Right? This comes from Alaska, and all these volcanoes of this hot spot coming down here. The very end of the trench has this undersea volcano. And it's only 975 meters below the surface. That's about 3,200 feet below sea level at the moment. And it's been having a bunch of earthquakes. So here is the edge of the Big Island. Here is the new volcano, the newest of the volcanoes, with lots and lots of earthquakes. It had a bunch of stuff. In fact, remember you saw in the tilt meter the little spiky stuff. This was from Louis going and doing wiggle stuff. That's technical terms for earthquakes, right? It actually had several quakes, from magnitude 2 to magnitude 3. They're not huge, but enough to cause Kilauea to wiggle. Had 24 earthquakes in a swarm of about a couple of days. By the way, you might have use the word loihi. that name has been changed, and the new name is Kama'i Kahua Kahaloa. Kama a
Kama
hiua Kanaloa.
Kama
That's
e
it.
hua kana
Kanaloa.
Kama e hua kanaloa. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Kama e hua Kanaloa.
I can barely speak English. Please. Send
That's
help.
the name. It was renamed this month, and part of it was that the old name he was sort of seen as it was used as sort of like a or the idea was it was a side vent of Kilauea. We now know that's not.
See, if I switch this to Canadian, it would be A. Comma A.
So, yeah. Okay.
Comma A, yeah.
Because Canadian instead of it's A or it's A because we're Canadian.
Could be A as well.
A.
Comma A.
Comma A ua Kanaloa.
Yeah, Comma A hua Kanaloa. I think that's probably a better pronunciation. I have to learn how to.
You got to get used to the Canadian A's.
So question. So you were, before it was renamed, you were thinking that it's kind of a vent, like a drainage section for Pele, but it's not. It's a separate volcano of its own activity.
Yes.
Is it
Yeah. So when it was originally named, here it was thought to be sort of here's Kilauea, and Kanaloa is down here, and so we now know this is a separate, not a side vent of Kilauea. This is actually a separate volcano on accord.
Interesting.
And it's only about it's relatively young, and again it's been having earthquakes. Remember, we know from our previous thing, just because there's magma and earthquakes does not mean it's going to erupt. And about 90% of the time it doesn't. But in this particular case, it really hasn't erupted yet.
Do you want to be that 1%?
Yeah. So about 9 times out of 10, when you get magmatic intrusions, which will cause earthquakes, nothing happens, right? But occasionally it does, right? It's been erupting. So this where the Big Island, or for example, Kilauea started around 280,000 years ago. Kamae Kanaloa is only started about 100,000 years ago. It's a relatively new set. So if you see in terms of the age, right, million years for Mauna Kea, which is dormant. Welleye is about 300,000 years. Mauna Loa is about 850,000 years. Kilauea is about 280,000 years. Kamae Kanaloa, formerly known as Lo'i, is only about years.
What is the differentiating factor between an active and a dormant volcano?
Is the magma chamber, is energy going into the magma chamber, or is the magma chamber essentially just cooling down, right? In the case of the dormant volcano, the magma chamber is shrinking, and it's hardening on the edges. And sometimes when it does that, it'll take bits of gases, it'll force up little bits of lava. So when you see these little pimples on the side of Mauna Kea, those are little cinder cones because the magma chamber is starting to cool down. There's no longer active energy coming into it. It began to cool, constrict, and sometimes it forces stuff up to the top.
So whereas a dormant volcano can still produce surface lava.
Yeah, little surface lavas, and it can have little cinder cones, stuff like that on the side is typically what it has towards its later phase. Whereas active, these actually have active magma chambers that are turning over. Welleye is still active. It's typically has about a 200 year cycle. Mauna Loa typically has around 20 to 40 year cycle, and Kilauea is just all the time. So when you're going back to here for what's happening with this volcano, Kamaehi Kanaloa is a big mountain, right? It rises 3,000 meters, about 10,000 feet from the seafloor. So if you put the base of it at sea level, it would rise about 2/3 of the way up Mauna Loa size. And of course, as a shield volcano, it's got these long rift zones, that typical shield volcano, where eruptions occur along the seafloor. It will take there's various guesses, but the current guess is it takes somewhere between 50,000 and 200,000 years before it will reach the surface.
Long gone. Maybe we would be replaced by another species of humans or Homo sapiens by that time.
I hope it's octopus. If I had to pick a species to take our spot, I hope it's octopus.
Yeah, they can wiggle out of anywhere. Just escape artists.
They're also really smart. The problem is that they don't pass on information. If they ever get to the point where they start passing on information to their kids, mind flares everywhere.
I mean, I do want to point out, shout out to Geology Hub. They do a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They have some great videos. I would recommend subscribing to them. They have a YouTube set here for stuff. There is, the last thing I wanted to mention is that with volcanoes, there's again lots of volcanoes going on in the world. Volcanoes are not anything new. Currently there are 47 volcanoes erupting right now. On planet Earth. So we're a very wiggly, erupty stuff. This is not the end of the world when something happens. This is all quite natural, quite normal. And I just gave you a little view on 3 of the current active volcanoes. Kamehameha is not erupting at the moment, but it's showing signs of unrest. So I would recommend for tourists wanting to do deep sea diving that you may not want to go there in the moment. On the other hand, Kilauea is quite gentle. The lava is staying down there in the pit. A flight to Hilo.
I have to show you
a
something.
Rental car, 40-minute drive to the park. You can stay at Volcano Village or at the park itself, at the lodge, and walk out to those overlooks. Very safe, and enjoy a spectacular sight. So questions from the...
What is that, Maanyaa?
So I bought it from a store when I went down, and I was somewhere and I bought this. I think so. Landon might be able to help recognize this. What's this, Landon? Look at my camera.
Let me go back over to here. I go over to this spot. Oh,
that is camera.
It looks like, I see the camera here. So I see it. Is that a nice geode?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, that looks really spectacular.
Maanyaa murdered a Pokemon to get that.
No.
That was basically minerals that go into basically a bubble that gets nice crystals. That's actually quite a spectacular one.
Yeah, I chose it for its color combination. Like it's like purple and gold. I was like, I want that, and I had to fish out like $30 from my pocket to get that, which is not bad. So yeah.
I like it.
So so when I was traveling from Christchurch to where I'm right now, I'm not going to disclose my location, but somewhere in the middle, there's this place where you can. There's a town. Maybe I'll put the name up on Twitter, where you have these like shops which sell all these, and it's so awesome.
Well, there's a lot of so those tend to be sort of the bubbles that then get minerals infused into and crystallize over time. And they're quite gorgeous.
Yep. Yeah. Look, there were so many. I was just confused, and they can range like the price was so spectacular, depending on I think the type of geode. And then they had like those fossils, like they had like rocks with fossil imprints on them, so they were selling those also. And they were very expensive. Like they started minimum from like $70 and could go up to like, there was one this big piece. They were selling it for $500. I'm like, bloody hell.
An expensive rock.
Yeah.
But anyway, so questions from the crowd, comments
Yeah,
on?
I've got, assuming no fissure draining events, at its current flow rate, how long would it take for lava lake overspills?
So let's define a term. That's a really good.
Math.
That's a really good a question here. By the way, I should mention piles of quakes from Kame E Kanaloa earthquakes. There, but I wanted to look at this thing here and go over, look at this. So we're talking about, I guess we're talking about, let's zoom in here. When do we think it's going to flow into here, so this drop down block? I would guess that we're talking about maybe 3 months, 4 months, but it's got to go uphill. I mean, there's a bit of uphill climb to get this far, right? This area here might be in a couple of months if it keeps going, right? This area is a couple of months to get to this area here as well, because you look at the 3,000 here and 3,000 here. This, if you look at this contour level, it's going to be now. That's for a couple months to here to get to the rim of the original caldera at 3,500. We're talking maybe a year or more. So I would guess, if you had to guess, 4 months to get to 3,000 and maybe a year and a half to get to 3,500.
Wow.
But I think there's going to be significant pressure on the tubes here and tubes here that might cause a drain event to occur. Maybe. But you have to ask Pele what she's going to do.
Yeah. Pele, oh lovely Pele, what you up? What you doing this month?
So we'll see. I would highly encourage you to visit the visitor center here and stay at the lodge, Volcano House, or at Volcano Village, and you can drive along here freely to look at the overlooks both day and night, and it's quite gorgeous. And there's little trails here. I mean, for example, there's a really nice trail down in Kilauea Iki Crater. This is a nice hardy hike, day hike in and out of this thing. It starts here at the rim. You go switchbacks down here. You cross the crater floor and come back up.
Pack a sandwich. Don't litter.
Yes.
If you litter, you're the worst kind of person.
Take water and pack up your stuff.
But yeah, Red Eye is saying that talking about visiting Thunder Eggs and checking out Thunderbird Park.
Nice.
Yes. There's of course lots of geodes in Australia too.
I don't know what Thunderbird Park is. Can somebody update me?
I don't know either.
Oh my god. None of us know what Thunderbird Park is. We need to be educated by Red Eye.
So anyway, this Highway 11 is the highway out of Hilo. And in fact, you keep going down here, turn off, there's a nice winery up the slopes of Mauna Loa.
Landon knows where to get all the good shit. I
didn't say it was good wine.
Oh, fair. That's true. You did just say it was a winery.
Yes, but wine is made in every state in the U.S. Sometimes, unfortunately.
So
but here's the big island again. Here's Mauna Loa, Kilauea, Hilo, Kona. Those are two airports here. It takes about 2-hour drive to get around from Kona to why I would recommend Hilo. Hilo's a nice, smaller town, nicer place.
We have our preferred measurements as voted by the chat. We have 54% for Celsius, 27% for Fahrenheit, 9% for Kelvin, and 9% for washing machines.
Oh my god.
I like that. Yeah, Kelvin's a
That-
good is a good temperature for stuff. Although it doesn't give you these. It doesn't give you the sort of the physiological, psychological state, right? If it's, you might say going from 20 to 40 goes from mild to hot. Right?
Literally on fire.
Yeah, but it's not that much when you think about it in Kelvin. You go from 293 to 313. Since zero is absolute zero is the base of it.
Right.
The shift from 313 to 293, that's going from 20 to 40 Kelvin, is only 7%. So you're only 7% more thermal energy going from 20 Celsius to 40 Celsius.
But this is the opposite way of what I was talking about when it comes to the difficulty people have with relative size, right?
Yes.
Because like, oh, world's temperature or overall temperature goes from this percent to this percent, and it's only 0.05%. People are like, oh, that's nothing. That's not even 1. And it's like, no, that's like 17 degrees. Like, you can't, like, think about it like an internal body temperature.
Yes. And so when I would give weather reports in Antarctica to the team, I would give it all in Kelvin, because it sounds, and when you say, hey, it's practically 230 degrees.
Mhm.
Well, or you say 230 Kelvin, because it's not degrees Kelvin, right? 230 Kelvin. It sounds more.
Yeah. So yeah, like you're psychologically, you're trying to like assure them it's not that bad, guys. You're fine. You're fine. You're okay. You'll survive.
Well, there's a Swiss expression that says there's no such thing as bad weather. There's just inappropriate clothing.
Yeah, I agree on that. I agree on that. I remember I went to a town called Russell once in New Zealand, and I foolishly decided to just wear one t-shirt and a leather jacket, and it was raining, it was cold, and then I decided to go on a cruise to watch dolphins.
Yeah.
I was soaked wet and so cold. Yeah.
But
and
did you
still
see
managed to
dolphins?
Yes, we did see the dolphins. I still managed to doze off on the cruise ship though, because it was bobbing up and down, and I just like went like an old lady. I just want to just sleep. What?
So give me just a moment. I pause for a station break, and you can collect some more questions. Just a moment.
Yeah.
Right. I'll do the buffer flushing in a moment. Be right back.
I love Landon fucking much.
I'm gonna get some tea.
Okay, bye. Hey, what up? It's me, your boy. I'm here. I'm gonna be on vacation this upcoming week, so you're not gonna see shit from me for about a week. Right now, if you go to the Twitter, there is currently a pinned tweet. That pinned tweet is basically an option for topics that they're going to be videos about. Right now, based on the number of likes it gets. So right now, it is currently at, excuse me while this loads. There we go. It is currently at 14 likes, which means I will be covering furries as number 1, K-pop as number 2, LGBT community at number 3, abortion at number 4, non-binary identity at number 5. Number 6 is pizza toppings. Number 7 is polyamory. Number 8 is cam girls. Number 9 is Ukraine. Number 10 is family. Number 11 is police. Number 12 is gun laws. Number 13 is human gene editing. And number 14 is favorite films. So we're currently at 14. There is a maximum of 80. So if it gets to 80, we'll cover everything in the list. The one that I am looking at not wanting to do the most is... let me see if I can find it again. Cultural appropriation, which is number 35. So if we can not get to 35 likes on this pinned tweet that you can go find in the description down below, find me on Twitter, I would greatly appreciate it. It will be up for basically until I get back. It'll be about a week and a half, give or take. So feel free if you're so inclined. Also, there is, look out for Landon coming up on Goblin's Lair at some point. We're gonna have a panel, I believe, and we'll be talking about dice. And that will be yeah, we're gonna talk about dice. That will be with Landon, that will be with Dapper Dino, and that will be with Trevor Valley as well. There is also one coming up with someone named Steven, and I definitely recommend checking that out. I would be remiss to actually just tell you about it, so it's already scheduled, and if you go and click on it, there is a link below to his website. Go and read his about page. This man got lit on fire and worked for NASA. Just go read his about page. You will not believe the nonsense that is a part of that. So we're going to be talking about that as well.
Very interesting character, yes.
Yes, oh my god, it's going to be very, very bizarre. And I'm sitting here being like, look at all these smart people I know. I'm going to talk to them about Dungeons and Dragons. So look for that stuff. Also, if you are part of the Discord, you are a member or a Patreon, check out the Discord and check out the D&D section general of the Discord. I'm going to be running a one-shot. The plot hook... Oh, hold on. Let me pull up the plot hook because that's important. If you're interested in playing, there's currently 2 more spots left that are open. The plot hook is... I want to read it off because I wrote it nice and special like. Okay. You are a stuffed animal toy made with love by a grandmother's hand and gifted to a child at birth. Since then, you have been protecting your child diligently every night from monsters under the bed. This day is different. You've been taken out with the laundry to be washed. You and the other toys from town were left behind during the day at a communal wash area. Now it's up to you and your fellow plushies to get back to your kids without being seen. Will you make it back in time before the monsters come for your kid? So if you would like, the characters are already pre-generated, so you will not have to make a character. We will be playing with 5th edition. If you're interested in that, again, you have to be a Patreon or a member, or at least in the Discord, so feel free to join and like and subscribe and all that good shit. I apologize for the technical difficulties earlier, but I'm glad we got it sorted out, so yay us.
Next time when we look at what Pele has been doing, we can look a little bit, we can talk about lava lakes and the problems of swimming in them.
Don't swim in lava, kids.
Unless there's another question. If there's a different request for a volcano or something from the chat room, that's...
Yes, we got one that, isn't it the case that if your internal body temperature deviates by more than 8 degrees Celsius, you're dead?
I think physiologically speaking, it is a problem. Now, I wonder if that's the case because I'm thinking about the difference between very high fever and very low and thermal shock. Is it? Yeah. Is that? And is that degrees Celsius?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Is it
I think he means he said degrees Celsius, 8 degrees Celsius.
If you're like high, like. Did he say 8 degrees Celsius? Yeah, your body... Yeah. You're overheating. And then that... And what your heart tries to do is it tries to cool down. It will try to cool down your whole body. But if it doesn't have that ability to do that, then it will... Yeah. It will start a chain of chemical reactions that you won't like.
Well, he said this is Rez's question, and Reddit also posited deviates by 8%. So not 8%. Sorry, 8 degrees one way or the other, because 8 degrees loss of internal body temperature. I imagine like either way, bacteria starts dying.
Yeah. Well, I've had a fever of 41.3.
But that's that's surface, right? Not internal body temperature.
I don't know where they were sticking the thermometer, but
I guess you wouldn't remember at that.
I was, but yeah, and that did cause perhaps the reason why I had to have heart valve repair is because it did damage heart. But I don't remember. I don't recommend 41.3. That's the don't.
Landon seal of do not recommend. I have a question.
I think if you look at the his question about stuff, 41.3 is about 4.3 Celsius above normal.
Yeah, 4 degrees Celsius above normal indicates an extreme fever. So 8, you would be dead, likely.
Yes, probably or maybe it's the case of 4 degrees the other direction. Is it 8, 4 degrees side to side, and that's the 8?
Oh, good question. Everything is relative.
It might be the side to side thing, but I can tell you that even 3 degrees above is misery, right? That's hallucinations are really bad. So
I have a question about where you would rank the wine from, because you said there was a winery right nearby.
Yes. So the Mauna Loa winery, Volcano winery, it's got some interesting stuff. They tend to put to make it, I think, more interesting. They put things like papaya juice into it as well, and some other things. So if you're a wine purist, you might turn your nose, but they're actually tasty wines, and you can go wine tasting up there. They have had when Kilo is particularly active, they get volcanic dusting, and so that adds an interesting flavor to the grapes, because they don't wash the grapes off when the volcano sprinkle. So different years, depending on how frisky the volcano is, gives them different things. They have some wines there. There's also wineries on Maui as well, but the better wineries in Hawaii are on the south side of Mauna Loa. Just probably about a 10-minute drive from the park entrance.
Oh, that's super interesting. So where would you put them if you were to compare to like your best wine, your favorite wine and your least favorite wine, and then like compare price points?
I'd put them in the middle. Price wise, they're quite very, very reasonable. I'd put them in the middle there. The bottom still sadly remains French Polynesia. I have searched for, made a valiant attempts to find a French Polynesian wine that wasn't worthy of spewing.
I'm gonna change, if I ever start making enough money, I'm gonna change my Christmas goals. Every Christmas, my goal is to find the worst smelling candles throughout the year that I can get. If I ever start making enough money, I'm gonna switch that to wine. And everybody is gonna get a bottle of wine for Christmas. It's gonna be the worst possible tasting wine I could have found.
Well, I refer to the wine. There's a wine that I call it educational wine. When I say this wine is educational, meaning it will teach you something about that's wine. And so sometimes when I do my tastings, I might have 5 bottles of really good wine and 5 bottles of educational, right? And so you start off with your really good wines, and then you say, okay, now you've done that, let me show you some wines that are interesting. Will teach you something about wine that you didn't think you should know. So yes. But no, I don't say that the Hawaiian wines are not educational. They're actually above that. I wouldn't travel all the way to Hawaii to get them. But you're there, they're interesting, and particularly the wines that are blending with some of the it's
worth picking up a bottle.
They'll pick up, and they'll take certain local berries and add it to the wine for there. Some of the wines they do at the winery are grapes that come from the mainland. Some of the grapes they actually grow there on the Big Island.
Oh, well, if you're taking a trip.
Kona coffee, you get the Kona beans also are quite good. So again, I highly recommend, if you're looking for a vacation, really expensive once you land there, to if you're going to go there, get your flight to Hilo and have your car reserved. You don't want to be in a spot where you don't have because you can't take taxi cabs up to the spot. You want a rental car. So yeah, you book your rental car, and then you get your flight, and then you get your hotel or your lodging, and have a good time and just enjoy. Put
aside a little bit of wine tasting. Put aside a little bit for some coffee tasting.
And also, you could get a little Mai Tai or two there.
I would love to be sponsored by the commerce portion of Hawaii, please.
Yes. Well, we should work on getting Chesh to Hawaii for.
Oh boy, Chesh's
You can-
Hawaii fun.
Yes.
I'll go in December when you guys both show up.
All right.
Actually, go there. There is a spot. Like and I don't know if I'm going to do it this time, but there's been a number of years where I go to the observatory, Volcano Observatory, for the holiday. I go between basically Christmas and New Year's. So having the holidays in Hawaii is really nice.
Yeah.
And it's so seeing the so-called I'm bringing a white Christmas sort of thing in your middle of the tropics is kind of a fun thing. They do go up to like Mauna Kea or Mauna Loa where there is snow and fill up pickup trucks and come down into town of Hilo and pile a bunch of snow onto the lawn inside the park there and let the kids go and play.
As a Canadian who used to spend Christmas, like February, I used to take a week off in February and I would go to my dad's old cottage. He doesn't have it anymore, which is why I don't go. But he had it was up near Tobamori in February, where it's just like everything is ice and snow and quiet and silent, and sometimes you hear like some wolves howling. So like as a Canadian going to Hawaii and getting like snow dumped off by a truck would be the best thing ever.
Yes. And it's but again, the food there, I mean the fish out of there stuff is this fantastic stuff out there. They're really, but similar thing if you go to the Maori culture, right? If you've gone to New Zealand and experienced the Maori culture, they're Polynesians as well.
Right.
And the joy of the marvelous stuff of the Polynesian culture, the joy, the hospitality, the people over there are just extraordinary.
Tell them Landon sent you, and then don't do anything embarrassing.
Yes.
Well, this is the time we're gonna find out that Landon actually gets a +1.
Yeah, and my one of my favorite times, I prior to my overrun surgery, I went to New Zealand for a Guy Fawkes night.
Oh yeah.
And I was there with a group of Maoris who were.
What year was that? What year was that?
2016, I want to say.
Yeah, I was in New Zealand. Okay, cool. But we might have not known each other at that point.
Yeah.
No,
but
we wouldn't have.
It was a thing, and that was the thing where they had. So it was there's a real Maoris out in the bush at a giant party, big bonfire. Jumping over the bonfire, and they had roasted both a pig and a bunch of fish. And they were sort of.
I see how it is when people who are of Polynesian descent jump over bonfires. It's cultural heritage. When I do it, it's dangerous. Stop doing that. Okay, all right. I see how it is.
But they had a different take on Guy Fawkes. They were lamenting the fact that he didn't gave able to light the fuse. Right? They wanted the apartment blow up. So it's but again, it's good fun stuff.
Everything is relative.
Polynesian cultures. If you show a little bit of decency and respect, and this comes back in Hawaii. The big things they teach the children about island hospitality.
Yes.
And they teach it in ways of giving tales of Pele, the woman coming to a village and asking for some water, and they say, "Get away, silly woman! We don't want you around here." And another village, they will say, "Yes, we'll give you water, and would you please sit down and have some fish with us and have dinner, right? And feed her, because when they feed you, there is a notion of you were under their protection. That's when you made it. And so experiencing island hospitality. And I'm not talking about the tourism on Waikiki.
That's
sort of stuff.
Different.
No. This is where you want to go. That's why I try to go to the Big Island where there are real Hawaiians and real people there. Just show a little bit of respect, and you will have an amazing time.
Smitty said that Canadian drunk camping is a valid cultural event.
It is true. I have been ice fishing.
Ice fishing is cool.
Where most of the time is not spent fishing.
Yeah, duh. Who cares? You can go to the grocery store to get fish.
yes, but yes. So in fact, that's one thing I've been, I've been, now that I have my Nexus pass, I've been going over the border, going over Trudeau's ditch legally, right? I'm not illegally, I'm going over legally. And there's a place I find that has a really nice, they have vegetarian poutine.
Yeah, that's not terribly uncommon.
And that's kind of nice. And also they sell these things, a little bit of smoked salmon with sort of honey glaze on it.
Yeah.
That's really quite good. So
there's A&W. Okay, so A&W in Canada is not the same as A&W in America. They're actually different companies, like completely separated.
It tastes slightly different too.
Oh, they're very. I had A&W when I was in Florida, and I was like, "The fuck is this garbage? This is disgusting. What is this? Is an A&W? A&W in Canada is 1, good, 2, has standards, and 3, you can get a vegetarian poutine. Their gravy, they have a vegetarian option for their gravy if you're interested in that. They do not have a dairy-free option because it's got actual cheese curds in it. So it's not vegan, but it is vegetarian. Res Instant sent $100 Australian and said, did somebody say send Chesh money?
Oh, please send your money. She does a lot of work. She does a lot of variety of stuff, and you should have supported her channel because it's good.
I would say she deserves it.
Oh, thank you very much. I have been working very hard. I've been having a day today. Oh my god.
Although I will say the one thing about visiting Canada that's kind of odd is when I visit wineries, it is not uncommon for someone, not a winemaker, but someone at the winery doing a tasting to say, why in the world are you here in Canada? Why don't you go and get good wine in the States? There is this assumption. Canada has some really good wines.
Canada is very good wine.
Yes.
It's because people automatically think of like California.
Yeah.
But like, I think personally, not to be biased, but I enjoy Niagara and Ontario wine more, like local wines, more than I tend to like California wines, or there's a couple Italian wines that are really, really, really fucking good. But Ontario wines, very good. I recommend the
Niagara region is a really good wine growing region.
Don't poke the bear. My sister knows the owner. So if you're curious to try one, Don't Poke the Bear is relatively newer comparatively as like a wine brand.
Burring Owl's another one there. I really like some of the noirs in Okanagan Valley in BC.
Yes.
The problem the tricky bit about wine in Canada is it is sometimes more difficult to get wine inside Canada than outside Canada.
Our local, I go to the LCBO and I go to the wine section and I go to like the Ontario local wines. It is the smallest section in the store.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Montreal and that state liquor store and saying, where, because I couldn't see it. I said, where is your Canadian wine? And they said, well, I think you go down the aisles, it's kind of a bottom.
It's got like an end cap.
like really. So it is but trust me, there's some really good wines.
Our sales are in the export. This is a problem that Canada has overall. Canada is not very good at supporting like local or national stuff. Where we don't care about you in Canada unless you've succeeded in another country. You have to succeed somewhere else before we acknowledge you.
Okanagan Pinot Noirs are really good.
It super duper applies to comedians, by the way.
No, by the way, we should also mention that New Zealand has some extraordinarily good wines.
Yes.
Really blow your socks off wine.
Shesh, you will be glad to know I have started drinking socially a little bit.
Aww.
A little bit. Yeah, I've taken the baby steps. And I do it when we go for trainings and stuff. So our food is paid and shit. So I
get a beer or a glass of wine.
A glass of wine. Yeah, I do that.
I'm going on vacation and I'm just gonna drink. I'm just gonna drink. That's what I'm gonna do.
To all the fucking trolls out there who think I have an alcohol problem sit on this.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Bree is very good.
She's very appropriate. So I'm going to be
I can't
away.
hear Landon. Is that just me? I see him green, but I don't hear
Hello?
him.
I can hear.
Hello?
Okay, I can't hear Maanyaa or Landon. Oh, it's just a me problem.
I
Blame Canada.
Alright, fine. Did
Canada.
did I press a button that I didn't mean to press? Hold on, let me check to make sure like I didn't accidentally mute
Canada.
everybody on my end.
No, they are a country anyway.
Okay, no, I didn't. I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
You-
Oh, outside can still hear too. It's just me.
Yeah. We just blame Canada, right?
All right.
So-
We're gonna go in order then.
Okay.
Landon, what do you got going on? We're gonna let you do your turn. Then we'll do Maanyaa, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. Go
Well, I
ahead,
have-
Landon. What do you got?
Oh, I got some work I'm doing in. I'm going to be in Central Europe for a couple weeks, doing some work and enjoying things. So we'll schedule our next time maybe a little bit longer for Pele's time of the month than last time. I do recommend, however, that coming up there is a particular show I'm doing on the Bin podcast. We're going to be talking about the James Webb Space Telescope. I'm going to have, in fact, where I'm looking on my calendar now. You've seen pretty pictures from the James Webb Telescope. On August 4th at noon Pacific time, we're going to go do a deep dive into the images that's been coming out of the James Webb Space Telescope. Go and look at some stuff scientifically from there, as well as pretty pictures. So some stuff from Jupiter that you may have not seen because the initial press release. So it really is about, let's see what the James Webb Telescope can do
I need to nerd out a little bit. But when I was back in India in senior secondary school, that's before your high school, our houses used to be the planets.
Oh, hey, I
So
got
we
audio back.
Excellent.
So houses used to be planets. So we had Saturn, Mars, Neptune, and Jupiter, and I was Jupiter, and I was my house captain and vice captain, for some time. Yeah, Jupiter. It feels nice to hear that once in a while.
So anyway, so it'll be on August 4th, the Bin podcast, at noon Pacific time.
Hell yeah, we love the Bin. That's Mikey.
Yeah, it's
Yay!
Mikey. And so we said, hey, let's do a show on web, but we said let's wait sure it works well. So it's working well, and we'll deep dive into some images
Nice.
and show you some good stuff.
Nice. All right, Maanyaa, what do you got going on?
Not really much, but we might, when Shesh comes back, we might have another look at Michelle Dauber. She's absolutely losing her shit on Twitter for some reason. I don't know what happened to her.
Really?
But yeah, since Amber Heard filed her appeal, she has gone off. Yeah, she like her Twitter conduct is not professional. I'll just say that.
Yeah, Landon, if you're out of the loop on that, she has like an honorary type acknowledgement from a university. From Stanford, and she teaches at Stanford and works at Stanford on their
and law
policies in the law department.
Oh, sure. She's an adjunct lecturer, but not a staff faculty member.
Right.
I love that, yeah.
And
logo.
she's been on Twitter calling any woman who's a lawyer a skirt.
Wow.
Yeah, and saying that women lawyers just want male acceptance, blah 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 blah.
Approval.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing jurists that I had an opportunity to work with, another public official, was an amazing lady who was extraordinarily skilled, and I that just is disgusting that someone thinks that your so-called gender would impact your ability to be a good lawyer, right?
No, according to this lady, I'll just give you a little bit of more background. According to her, women should not represent people who have been accused of crimes, because then they are catering to patriarchy in some way. I don't know how she got that. She was calling women names just for doing their jobs. That's it. That's what.
That's a good
His
lawyer
reaction.
if you're a lawyer and you've been served a turd sandwich, you try to make that turd sandwich with a nice mayonnaise mustard and present it as best you can.
Do your job, right? Do your
Yes.
job to your best of your abilities, right?
Yes.
So why? I don't know why she's doing that. She's miffed with all the women who have represented, you can say, clients who have been accused of crimes, and she calls them skirts, and she like misogyny all around because they are not following her brand of feminism for some reason.
And like that's just like just against the whole idea of the U.S. legal system.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty, and to give the best representation to people so that innocent people stay out of jail and are not jailed. So yeah,
because if you get accused by the state of a crime,
yeah,
they have enormous resources to come down on top of you, and they'll present evidence to say you are guilty as hell. Why do we have a trial? And you need a lawyer that even if you actually were in the wrong place at the wrong time, to take that turd sandwich and make it a nice deli sandwich that is palatable to a jury of your peers.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So, and that's why I keep wondering, like, why is she still allowed to be at that university at Stanford? Why is she still part of the faculty?
She's using their name too for clout. So.
Yeah, she using their names and stuff, and she actually like she almost indirectly threatened someone, and that was on Twitter, like saying that Silicon Valley is a small space and they could face the consequences of just
never
questioning
work
her on
in this
Twitter.
town again. That's what she did.
That kind of thing. So we will talk about her when we come back again, because I think so she is someone that should be held accountable for what she talks about, especially when you're a faculty member.
And I'm looking forward to the dice show. I actually have some dice. I will bring out my dice as well and talk about that stuff. And I do recommend you watch the I think it was a 2-part series. What's a 2-part series on the movie coming out? The Dungeons and Dragons.
The Dungeons and Dragons movie. The Dungeons and Dragons movie episode with Trevor Valley was 3 hours long.
It's worth it. Worth watching.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for coming. Check in. Make sure to like and subscribe if you've been unsubscribed or whatever, because YouTube doesn't shit. Feel free to become a member or a Patreon if you are interested. I greatly appreciate the support. Thank you very much if you did super chat. Thank you very much if you are a member and have been a member for however long you have been. I've really, really appreciated it. And I hope you enjoy the emojis. Last but not least, I will be back next week. And who knows, Dapper and Maanyaa also have access to stream to this channel, so I make no promises that there will be nothing that comes out this week, because
Dapper too. He's a cool guy. So
hell yeah, Dapper's awesome. Special thanks to Ben Hoven who put our music together, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. That was good.
That was fun. Thanks.